everyone.
Hi, everybody.
This is it. We're going back in time.
Oh, man.
Yes, we are going back to the days when Gorbachev was in power.
Oh, man.
This is a downer.
I vaguely remember that.
Live Aid concerts were popular because of the famine around the world. And the awareness of AIDS was on the rise. What a childhood we had.
85 was not great socially.
Yeah, so we are going back to 1985. This is our term midlife, and this is where in our series where we spin a wheel and we get a year. Now, I will be honest, the first time I spun the wheel, I got 1966. And so I went to my list, and I went through the entire year of films released in 1966, and I hadn't seen a single one of them.
And just to put in a little more perspective, that's not it. I wasn't even born.
That's right. And you probably, I don't know if you had seen any of them or not.
I couldn't
I
tell you.
decided at that point it wasn't worth doing 1966, so I spun again and I got the best year of movies ever. So that's what we're going to do. So
Okay.
let me just take you back to what was top of the charts then. The Oscars that year, it was Amadeus all over the place. Amadeus won, F. Murray Abraham won. That was also Purple Rain when he won for the song and composing or whatever. The top songs in 1985, Money for Nothing, Don't You Forget About Me, Power of Love, Careless Whisper, Like a Virgin. And then the top box office movies were Back to the Future, Rambo First Blood, Rocky IV, The Color Purple, and Out of Africa. This, for me, was a huge year, and I told him then, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this down to 5. I said, I'm going to need a top 10. You didn't need a top 10.
I didn't have that problem because there are a lot of movies in my formative years. I did not go to a lot of movies. I didn't see a lot of movies. So I only saw probably a dozen movies at that time, or really kind of since.
Yeah.
There are a lot of movies I haven't gone back to. So
Right. So I have 10.
I've got 5, and I've only got like 7 honorable mentions.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to then list my 10 through 6, and then you'll join in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I will support you.
Okay, my number 10. And here's the other thing. This was so hard that I actually moved. I listed my top 10, and then I moved some, and then I crossed them out and moved it. So really this top 10 is really 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. I mean, this is my childhood, and this is peak childhood. This is when I could start going to the movies by myself and really enjoy movies. This is a big deal for me. So even though this is number 10, it's not number 10. It belongs higher, but there's nothing I can do. Number 10, Rocky IV.
I must break you.
There are so many lines from that movie, and I'm not a huge Rocky person, but that one is probably my favorite.
Really?
And there's just a lot of lines I have from it, and it's a crier, and it's a good one, and it's just, yeah. Americana.
Oh.
Number 9. Oh, I can't believe this is number 9. St. Elmo's Fire.
This isn't real. You know what it is? It's St. Elmo's Fire. Electric flashes of light that appear in dark skies out of nowhere.
Again, there's, I don't want to use the whole Brat Pack thing, but they were the Brat Pack. This was taking them more into college. Of course, I grew up in Virginia, so Georgetown was close. It felt like,
Yeah.
it was something kind of set near home.
Felt local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the characters of St. Elmo's Fire and all that. And they've been talking that possibly they're going to do a sequel. Number 8.
The geriatric pack.
Number 8. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I wouldn't sell my bike for all the money in the world. Not for $100 billion, million, trillion dollars.
Then you're crazy. I know you are, but what am I?
And I tried to get this in my top 5. It was really hard. This is such a staple of my childhood. This is one that I went and saw multiple times. I can recite every word, and it's just the best.
Okay.
If you know, you know, and if you missed out on it, that's too bad. Number 7, another Brat Pack, is Breakfast Club.
When you grow up, your heart dies.
Who cares?
care.
This is higher because I think I've watched Breakfast Club way more times because it's high school, and so I think it was a lot more relatable. Even though I was probably 9 when I first saw it, it just felt more relatable of those characters and stuff. So absolute classic for most people from the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 6.
Yes.
Probably by myself on this one, but again, childhood. White Knights.
11 pirouettes? 11 rubles. Rubles. Sweet, sweet rubles.
I was not the normal kid. And I had posters in my room of Mikhail Baryshnikov at 8 and 9 and 10 years old. I had a huge door poster of him in my room. And so this was a big, big deal for me. I remember in 5th grade going with a boy, and for my birthday, he got me the White Knight soundtrack. It was just, it's a great, I still love the movie. Love it, love it, love it. Nothing better than Gregory Hines and Mikhail Baryshnikov dancing, and great soundtrack.
Best birthday present ever. I guess.
All right, so that brings us to number 5 in 1985. So you go first.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call at the front desk.
I'm surprised you've seen it.
That's
quite
probably
honestly.
I think I actually saw it a couple times. This is probably the least controversial. Well, there are probably 2 on my list that are no controversy. The others are just pure me.
Okay.
So.
All right, you're number 4.
My number 4, Commando.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
That doesn't surprise me.
Now, I did see in the theater, I saw Rambo First Blood.
Okay.
But I liked Commando better.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Courtney's going to have a problem
Sorry,
with that.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
But as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate both. Cousin Courtney.
Never seen Commando, so
Yeah.
I'll move on from that.
Oh, okay.
My number 4, probably the number 1 thing everyone thinks of when they see 1985, Back to the Future.
Oh, wow.
Flux capacitor.
What, that it's my number 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course I love it. Again, saw it multiple times. Have probably seen it hundreds of times in the last 40 years. Who knows? There are ones I love more.
Yeah, that one started, I mean, that movie had such an impact.
Yeah, it was such, I mean, everything. Everything about it was perfect. Again, the soundtrack, the story, Michael J. Fox, thank God they replaced with him. The whole storyline was great, and it just, DeLoreans and the hoverboard, and we wanted everything. We wanted all of that.
Yeah, and all due respect to Christopher Lloyd, but he was old then. I mean, that was 40 years ago.
Well, you look at it now and it's like, what bad makeup. Like when you see it up close, it was such bad.
I guess.
But anyway.
Yeah.
You're number 3.
My number 3.
Oh, no.
And I debated about this, but I have to because I enjoyed it so much.
If it's yours, yeah.
And this is my list, so
That's right.
Don't come for me because it's mine. Spies Like Us.
She wants to know why we would do such a thing. Tell her so do we.
Ooh. My dad's also going to have a problem with that. Yeah. That was such a horrible, horrible movie.
I don't pretend that it was factual or anything, but I just remember being so entertained by it. So I'm a big Dan Aykroyd fan. I have learned to really not care for Chevy Chase.
No.
But
back then, I mean, this was your Fletch, and then he went from Fletch to Spies Like Us. It was like, ooh.
I don't think it was that bad.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Was that the last time you saw it?
I can't remember watching it. Now, I did go back and forth with another movie, but we'll get to that afterwards. And even though I have that at 3, that would have been the one I replaced.
Okay.
As weird as that sounds. What's your number 3?
Number 3, The Goonies.
Don't say that! Never say that! Goonies never say die!
Yeah.
Another one he hasn't seen. Formed my life. Goonies. Best. So great. Such a great cast. And it's an adventure for kids. For us kids back then, to watch these kids go on such an adventure was just the best. And it still is. I mean, I still love watching it. And it just makes me feel like a kid again. So
yeah, at that time it
holds
had
up.
to have been, seeing somebody your age on this adventure, it had to give you the sense of anything's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're number 2.
Better Off Dead.
Go that way. Really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I mean, John Cusack is, a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Turns
No,
out.
it's a funny movie.
Yeah.
And people forget how funny it is.
They do.
But it is.
Yeah, Spies Like Us, probably wasn't great. It hit me at a particular time and it hasn't aged well. But Better Off Dead
holds up.
It holds up, and I
Yeah.
would watch it again today.
Yeah, I have watched it many times.
There you go.
My number 2.
Yes.
And I want to say I struggle between 1 and 2, but again, they're all the same.
Okay.
The Legend of Billie Jean.
For my trouble, or to keep my mouth shut, or maybe for a few minutes in your room upstairs. How much is that worth to you, Mr. Pyatt? Tell us! Everyone's listening.
This was a defining moment in my life watching The Legend of Billie Jean. I cut my hair off. And again, seeing a tough female character, and not tough, I mean, she cries a lot and she's whatever, but just seeing this woman not take it. And she was a high school kid. And, it just changed me. Again, it was just something that I needed to see at the right time.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I get it.
I love it. Great soundtrack, too. So many great soundtracks in the 80s.
Yeah, yes. Well, and speaking of which.
And so then your number 1 from 1985 is Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Now, let me show you my plan for sending you home. Please excuse the crudity of this model. I didn't have time to build it to scale or to paint it. It's good. Oh.
I'm that predictable.
No, it's just I kind of knew, again, you haven't seen so many of these, but it's a lot of people's number 1 of all time, but definitely of this year.
Well, it had to be on my list somewhere.
Yeah.
By default, because I've seen so few movies. But for it not to be there yet, you knew it was going to be number 1. And we've already talked about it. It was just, but then you mentioned the soundtrack. I mean, Power of Love, is just
absolutely
such a seminal song.
Yes.
Yeah. Huey Lewis. Okay, you're number 1.
My number 1. Everyone's going, she's covered all the movies from that year. What could be left? Clue.
We'd all received a letter, and you'd had a letter, and you'd had a letter, and you'd had a letter.
Get out of here!
The point is...
Of course. Of course.
Out of all of these movies, and I have watched all of these movies hundreds of times, there's something about Clue that is the classic, the funniest, that I still will watch, and it's still funny, and everyone's at the top of their game, and it's perfect. There's just nothing wrong with that movie at all. It's the best for those who have seen it.
I've seen a lot of it.
And, I've heard Ryan Reynolds wants to remake it. And I used to think that maybe it would be okay, but now, no. He is not allowed to.
Don't
and
touch
if he
it.
does, I will not watch it. So.
Ooh, wow, when you draw a line.
Yeah.
And I know that about you.
There's this, it's too perfect. It's just too perfect.
Yeah.
There's no reason to.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to talk about honorable mentions at all?
If you want to.
Well, I can go through mine really fast. There's
Sure.
only a couple we haven't talked about. Well,
Okay.
there's like 4 or 5. Breakfast Club. I have Witness with Harrison
Never saw
Ford.
it.
Well, stop picking on me then.
I was a child. Why would I go watch Witness?
Hey,
I was too busy watching Rambo
Yeah.
and Rocky.
Yeah, and you've seen far worse movies earlier than that, prior to that.
Maybe.
So. Oh, I know. I know you have.
But Witness would be boring to a kid.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
It's a psychological thriller, so.
Yeah. And it's Harrison Ford. So.
Yeah, who I happen to like.
Next.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome?
Yeah.
Yeah. St. Elmo's Fire. The Heavenly Kid. I really like that movie.
Okay.
That was Jason Gedrick, and I think the guy's name is Matthew Lewis. I'm not gonna. And then Weird Science.
Oh yeah.
That was another one I really, really enjoyed.
I had also. I mean, I have a ton. Blood Simple was that year.
Yep.
Vision Quest, Sure Thing, Mask with Cher, Killer.
Yeah.
Cat's Eye, Fletch I mentioned. Maxie was this movie with Glenn Close that I love. I Had Better Off Dead, Teen Wolf. European Vacation was that year. Silverado, I remember, was the first time I had ever seen Kevin Costner. Silver Bullet, Jewel of the Nile, which isn't as good as Romancing the Stone, but still.
Yeah.
And The Color Purple came out that year. So it's an amazing year for movies.
Think about the mid-'80s for Michael J. Fox. 1985, Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, which was pretty big.
And I think the story goes that he had filmed Teen Wolf first, and they held it to see how Back to the Future went. So that way, then they put out Teen Wolf later because then he was this mega star and people wanted to go see.
Yeah.
So I think that, I could be making that up, but I feel like that happened.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Sounds plausible.
So that is a trip back to 1985,
Ooh.
one of the best years of movies ever.
Yep.
Absolutely, for some of us. Please comment down below, what's your favorite movie from 1985? Did we miss it? Did we mention it? Would love to hear from you.
And you don't have to tell me how lame I am for only having seen 7 movies from 1985.
Yeah, he knows how lame he is.
I thought it was 8, but I guess I didn't see E.T.
Yeah.
I'm so lame. I thought I saw one.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks you guys so much. Please like this video, subscribe. We have lots more coming up. And I'm going to spin that wheel again and see what year comes up next.
Woohoo!
That's it. Thanks so much. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.